Hey, and welcome to this tutorial. The combine and separate tools can be super helpful for many reasons and have a couple of different use cases. This year it's my aim to learn some new Maya tools. It's been a long time since I looked through the documentation, and I hope to find some extra tricks I can use day to day. Join the Discord server to chat with a great community of fellow modelers, and check out my Gumroad for access to the members only chat and a whole bunch of assets and tools. So let's hop into the tutorial. An obvious use for the combine tools would be to combine the final mesh. I'm not saying I would recommend doing this, as you get way more flexibility from grouping objects together, and I go over this in much more detail in the video linked on the screen now and also in the description. For example, select all the objects, go to Mesh, Combine, and now you're going to have everything in your outliner as one object, which you can easily select like so. In reverse, you can of course separate by going to Mesh, Separate. Note that everything will be left together in a group, which you may or may not want. I'm just going to undo that to show you another thing. Cool, so the other thing is that you can actually specify the shells you want to separate, which you can do by selecting the faces of the shells you want to separate. So maybe this one, and this face from the other shell. So then we can go to Mesh, Separate, and now it's only separated the parts we specified into some chunks. Another reason you'd want to use these tools is when you're modeling. Many polygon tools can only be formed between two separate shells once they've been combined into the same mesh. For example, if we wanted to weld these vertices together, we wouldn't be able to now until they've been combined. So if we had these two meshes, what you'd want to do is select them both and go to Mesh, Combine, but this time let's go ahead and open up the options box. Here you can see that we have a few options. Merge UV sets. I don't usually change the UV merge setting as I'm never really combining final meshes, so UVs are going to be changed anyway. Some skinning options. The skinning setting is good for if you want to preserve some weights. And finally, we have the pivot settings, which I never really play with either, and they're pretty self-explanatory by their names, but let's just go over them. We have center, which centers the pivot at the center of the objects being combined. The last object puts the position at the same spots of the pivot of the last object selected, and Weld origin puts the pivot zeroed out on the grid. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this all as it is and hit apply. Cool, so now if we go ahead and try and use the Weld tool, you can go ahead and see that we can actually merge all these verts together. Cool, so I think that pretty much wraps up the basics of the combine tools, and as I mentioned, I have more in-depth tutorials on some of the topics explored, which are linked in the description if you want to find them. I spoke about my Gumroad earlier, but I'll just talk about it a little bit now. If you like my content and find it helpful, supporting the channel on Gumroad will help me to continue to bring you the content you like. I have a bunch of assets and tools, and I have also devised a membership, which I'm calling VFX Fuel, which has a bunch of perks like downloadable tutorial files, early access videos, as well as a members only chat on Discord. There's a few tiers to choose from, have a look. Give some feedback if there's anything you'd like to see. I think that's everything. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Come chat with me on the Discord, and I'll see you in the next video.